Welcome back to another episode of Play Pause. Today, I built a 3D printer. Never built a 3D printer before. You know, part of me says, I don't need instructions. I'm going to use the instructions. Yeah, today we have got the Anycubic Mega Zero 2.0. This is a 3D printer that you can order from Amazon. It's a little under $300, but I've never actually assembled one. So this is going to be interesting. If you've ever thought about using a 3D printer before, well, maybe this isn't the video to follow to set it up, or maybe it is. You might just learn along with me. So let's dive in, let's have some fun. First things first, let's just figure out what the heck we are supposed to do. So kicking things off, we need to install the frame, which is this guy here, which I've got on its side right now, but that's actually supposed to be upright. So let's figure out. And there we have it, a 3D printer, all built. I definitely didn't get it right the very first time. I had something backwards, so I had to disassemble. You know how it goes, you build Lego enough times, you're eventually gonna have to unbuild something and put something back, but I'm excited to get this thing fired up. You might be asking yourself, if you're new to the world of 3D printing, like what is this contraption? What is this for? Why would I ever need one? And really what it comes down to is, if you want to be able to model something, you know, maybe you're trying to create a proof of concept for a product that you're thinking of, or maybe it's just something that you want to, you know, you want to build little miniatures. Maybe you want to you want to design and build something that's a 3D model and sell it yourself, or use it for your own purposes. You might have an old RC car or RC plane lying around that you need parts for, and sometimes they can be difficult to find, especially when it's been 10, 20, 30 years since they were really popular and on the market. Fortunately, with something like this, you can print it yourself, and you don't have to go special order. And once you have it, the cost of printing this stuff is actually on the low end of things. This whole contraption here cost under $300 Canadian, and I'm very excited to get to try it out. Now, 3D printers, they can get very expensive. You know, this is definitely on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of cost when it comes to a 3D printer. You can get up to $1,000, $1,500 very easily, very quickly. There's all kinds of different types of 3D printers and the type of material that they will use to print. Now, this uses kind of a more traditional filament. So it's called it's a plastic PLA filament. This is very common to use. You need to have your printer get up to temperatures of 200 to 230 degrees Celsius for it to actually begin to be able to print, at which point this belt-driven system will move back and forth on this platform to create the model that you're doing from your computer. Now, you might be looking at me and saying, Matt, I'm no 3D modeler. I don't know how to use a CAD program. I don't even know where to start. The best I could do is come up with a cube, and it might not even be a proper cube. Now, I hear you. I learned how to use CAD software back in high school. This is going years and years back for me, and you know, at this point in time, I'm not even comfortable with it. So you might say, again, why am I going to buy this contraption? I don't even know how to design something on a computer. Well, there's many different options. You can learn. That's option one. There's many resources out there online you can go to, you can check them out, you can learn how to develop something if you're willing to put in, invest the time, and maybe that's something you'll do over time. Your alternative option, what a very common and popular option has been, is the vast 3D printing community. There's a whole bunch of people out there that are creating 3D models, uploading them online for anybody to grab and use at their leisure. And one of the websites, I'll link it at down below, is called Thingiverse. This is one that I frequently just peruse through, coming up with ideas of, hey, I could use one of those. I'll print it. And, you know, in no time at all, you end up with a print. Now, you might be wondering, why should I go and spend $1,000, $1,500 when, Matt, you've got a 3D printer right in front of you. It was $300. It was under $300. Why would I go and spend more money? Well, it's going to come down to the quality and the time. Do you want it to be a faster print job, and do you want it to actually be a successful print job? This is still relatively newer technology to have in your home. It is being improved upon and improved upon over and over again. Every single year they're getting better, faster, and cheaper. But there is still quite the divide. And you can get much larger ones that can print much larger figures. Something of this size, you're not going to be building large parts, you're going to be building smaller miniature type things, to which I hope to have a test print in a few minutes that I can show you after I'm done talking here. We'll see how that goes. In general though, this is the basic idea. You've got your interface here. More often than not, it's going to connect in via USB to a computer, or you use an SD card, you put it into this unit, select the file that you want to print, and off you go. It starts printing. Something like this does not happen very quickly. You do have to give it some time to print, and I really can't emphasize this enough. Be around. Don't leave your home. Be checking in constantly. The worst thing that can happen is you let the print job start, something goes wrong, and you've either wasted a bunch of your filament that you've ordered. Now this just came with a small amount, but you might have a much bigger spool or roll. Next thing you know, you're out of filament. That doesn't do you any good. Secondly, my first experience with a 3D printer was actually after a failed print job. Somebody previously had this, I think it was an 8 or 10 hour print job running, and it ended up backing up in the printer, and the filament went up through the print nozzle. Not a great experience, so don't leave while you're in the middle of the print. Make sure you're checking in regularly, so either you can stop it in the event something's failed, or you can just kind of confirm that everything's okay. What else is there to say? I mean, the overall construction of this one in particular, the Mega Zero 2.0, if you're considering it, again, I'll put a link in the description. I'm going to test it out. I'm going to see what my thoughts are, and hopefully by the end of this video I can let you know if I would recommend it or not. This is my first experience with something in my home, and I'm very excited to get to try it out. So without further ado, I'm going to hop onto Thingiverse. I'm going to see if I can find something fun to print. Alright, well, it's been a little bit of time. We got most of the way through the print, and disaster. I lost the print. It was printing an owl standing on a log. Actually, the detail, I'm really impressed. Like, everything was looking really great. It got to the head, and I heard a little bit of cracking, took a look, and sure enough, the base had separated from the print head. So, hey, lesson learned. There's obviously got to be a bit more involved to help it. I've seen in the past the attempt of using like just a regular glue stick, or you can take some painter's tape, you can place that down. Sometimes that helps maintain that connection to the base a little bit better. But I'm going to have to do some research, look into this specific model, see what people recommend. Perhaps the test print just needs to be adjusted for a larger surface area base before you get started to the print job. But up until that point, I'm not touching it yet because it's still very hot. But looking at the actual print, like, everything was looking great up until that final, that final 10% of the print. It was looking really solid. So all in all, not upset. I think this is actually a really great value buy. I've had these same kind of issues on much more expensive 3D printers, so by no means should this be a fault of this specific one. It's just going to be a learn with this printer. The other thing that I realized after I started printing, I didn't do a proper calibration job of where the platform started. This print really should have been printing in the center of the platform, and for all I know, that could have been the reason why the base failed. So very much could have been user error, the lack of experience on my part. All in all, pretty cool. 3D printers, I'm a big fan. If you have questions, if there's anything you want to see specifically with a 3D printer, let us know in the comments below. I'll make sure there's links to everything that was shared here today. And other than that, I hope all of you have a great, happy holidays. Make sure to check out our podcast. We'll have another podcast up before the holidays start, and going in before the new year, we'll probably have another one out again by then. So it's been great. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a good one, guys. Take care.